All right. So this is gonna be what I'm cooking up um, for just for like a lunch. This is a lime. I've already kind of used some of it, but we're gonna use some more. This is turmeric root. I'm gonna show you how to prepare that. This ginger, we're gonna cut off a smaller piece of that, put the rest back in the fridge. Got some radishes, got a golden beet, a turnip, and a zucchini. And I'm gonna eat all of this. It's just like this is one sitting. Um, and so we're gonna cut these by density. So this is last because it's the least dense. Turnips and radishes I feel like are the same density, so they're gonna go right here, kind of together. The golden beet is the one that even if it's a little bit soft, I don't mind it as much. It's a little bit more dense than the rest of these. If I had a parsnip, it'd be like right behind the beet or right in front, depending on how it felt. And if I had a rutabaga, the rutabagas take a while, so they're first. The first thing we're going to do is actually these roots though, and then I'm going to put some lime juice in there now and later. This is the pot of water right now. It's going to be back on the stove. I don't know if I'll bring it over to put stuff in or not, but I mean, I guess I will because I got to show you guys what's going on, so I'll just transfer it over back and forth. Alright, so I'm going to use this knife. This is a chef's knife, I believe. It's Time and Table. No sponsorship. I like their brand because their design, but I'm not sure because like their blades are heat. Like I don't know why, but they respond to heat and markings, and I don't know if that affects if that's like a chemical on there or if something's coming off or if that's just how the blade is tempered. I'm not sure, so I'm not sure if I should recommend this brand or not. The design's really nice, but I'm not sure about the actual knife. But we're gonna use it just because it's still on the shelves, so and I hope it's okay. And chip away this. I really like their designs though, like their pots and everything. So you can leave the skin on or not for the turmeric root. And I just got this at Sprouts, just like in the produce section. And this, if you leave the skin on and you put it in, it's going to be very bitter. So this is your skin turmeric root. And if you just cut it up and put it in, it's not always going to like release all of its flavor and all the nutrients that come inside of it. So we're going to cut it in half and we're going to muddle it essentially. We're going to just use a knife blade, just put it down flat, keep the sharp end down farther and use the back of it. It will slide, so that's why you want to keep this knife edge down low, because if you have this up and you go here, it's going to slide on your hand. So keep the knife edge down, always know where your knife edge is. And just kind of smash it up. It will stain your hands. It'll stain your clothes, stain your cutting board, it'll stain your knives. This stuff will stain. But I think those staining juices are packed full of nutrients. And anti-inflammatories. I don't know. I haven't done a lot of research on it. I just keep seeing articles that say it's good for it. So I like to do stuff raw from the source. And then, alright. So I got kind of like this muddled mess on there. I try to scoop up some of the juice off the cutting board. And now, I gotta be careful because this is starting to get hot. But take this and just dump it in. I'm gonna try and use the hot water a little bit to clean the knife, but it's obviously this knife is way bigger than this pot, so I don't want to burn my cutting board. So you don't want to take the pot of water off and put it down and then put your ingredients in. You want to take the cutting board to the water. So that's what we're going to do for the rest of this. But that way you can just kind of see it. We're going to do the same thing for the ginger root. I think it also helps release. I'm going to take a bigger slice of ginger root because I don't even mind like just eating a little bit of ginger. Turmeric could be very bitter. And because it stains and gets such a deep water color, then I feel like I feel like it's effective just in even just a little dose, but I don't know the actual dosages that should be happening. It'd be based on like how much of the anti-inflammatory is released and is bioavailable after all this cooking and everything, because even the heat could denature some of the nutrients. So, but sometimes reducing the temperature brings them back, so it's not always just like permanently destroying them. It just denatures them. It just means they're like a little bit out of shape. Yeah, even nutrients can get out of shape. Okay, stepping behind the blade. I thought my board was absorbing something. So, muddled up ginger root. I just keep stacking it, folding it, smashing it, stacking it, folding it, smashing it, and then scoop all that up. Try and get some of them juices up. And careful with the knife edge. If there's like little kids or something running around, I suggest taking the whole board and then lifting that up, rather than just swinging a knife. I don't got nothing around, so just by myself. There you go. Yeah, I'll show you on these bigger ones. Just taking the whole board over. So I'm going to do a little bit of lime juice now and a little bit at the end. I don't know which one's better, but I do like it at the end. I think it adds good flavor. We're also going to get a piece of chicken. I'm going to pull that out after the beets. The water right now is at a slow boil. It's at a slow boil. It's on like an 8 right now, which is high. You don't always got to crank it to 10. You usually want to stay away from 10. You want to range between about 4, like when you're cooking things, you want to range between like 4 and 6. And when you're heating things, like just keeping them warm, you want to be between 2 and 4. And when you want to be like, when I'm trying to get some water to boil, I'll crank it up to 8. Which is high enough. 6 or 2 and 8. 8 because I want it to be a little bit faster. Once it gets to that boil, well, because we're adding in the vegetables, so the cold vegetables are going to cool down the hot water, and it's going to reduce its boil, which is kind of interesting. But let's get this caught up. You don't gotta eat this. I'm going to, just because I don't know. Seems like a nutritious part of the plant. I'm just going to cut it like this way. See if I can do a better visual cut for you guys. And I'm going to cut it in and in. So I got these little third pieces. Now when I slice it, I just got a little bit smaller. I'm not the fastest cutter. I do like these colors. So I do golden beets because I like medically can't do red beets, which is unfortunate. But golden beets I think are delicious, and they stain. Like I already got the turmeric root staining, so these just stain way less when you're like cutting them up. So I recommend them. I think they taste a little bit better, anyways. They're a little bit like not as bitter, a little bit softer on the flavor chart, not like texture-wise. I think they're about the same texture. Better flavor. Alright. So, remember, careful with your knife. Take it over. Drop the zucchini. This is also why you don't have all your vegetables on your board. You should keep them off on like a plate or something and just cut one vegetable at a time. I'm just doing this kind of for show. So let me get more proper. I'm kind of wash these off because these all just fell over the table. You want your vegetables clean, Like, you don't gotta be crazy. I just ran them under the water just a little bit, but like this over here, Boom. See? That's way better. And now you can work with what you got. Now the rest of this goes in the trash. If it doesn't go in the fridge and it doesn't go for the food, it goes in the trash. Just keep you want your cutting board clean. And usually you don't want to walk around with a knife either. You want your knife up. So I'm going to use this sheath right here. And let's see. Boom. So, basic safety stuff. The beets are already starting to boil, so I'm going to do this turnip, and then I'm going to do the radishes after. I'm going to cut the turnip just a little bit thicker, so that way I don't have to eat as much turnip, and so that way it kind of fits on the time, because I'm going to cut these kind of small, because they're already kind of small. So, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to keep it in half, and then cut from there. These are still just a little bit too big. I don't want that much turnip in each bite, so I'm going to come back, cut these halves into quarters, cut this, turn this down, cut it, and try and stand it back up, because I already cut that top off, so that's like kind of like a base, that little flat part right here. I'm cutting off the top, so I'm going to sit that there. And remember, when you cut with a knife, you don't push. It's not a pushing motion, it's a slicing motion. You're going like this, basically. You just don't want to saw as much. You just, with this bigger knife, you let the weight go on down. Alright. I don't know if you can hear the water, but it's boiling again in the background. Throw this away. That way all of this is just going in the pot. I can clean it on top. Alright, so before I do my radish, I'm going to throw in a raw piece of chicken breast. It's not actually chicken breast. This is actually chicken thigh. I'm going to leave it in this container. I think you're supposed to want to take it out of the original packaging, but I've always just kind of left it in, just being lazy. There's a lot of bacteria and stuff in raw chicken, and so I'm not going to take it out or set it down on this cutting board or near the vegetables, so that way I don't have to wash everything again. I'm going to bring it over on the counter. I'm going to put the chicken into the pot, and then I'm going to just wash my hands real quick, put everything away, wash my hands again, and then come back and chop the rest of these vegetables. So I just used one hand to unwrap, or I used, well, you can use either hand to unwrap it, but then once you get close to the chicken meat, I use one hand to touch it and like get in there, grab it, put it in the pot. So now I have this hand that's not been contaminated on to put this stuff back into the fridge. And just using my elbow or like this extra finger, I'll open the door, put this in, go wash my hands. And then I got for you. Boom. Get your hand with soap. Mamma mia. Alright. It's already back at the boil. And so I'm going to turn that boil down since we're at the end. And you just want to probably flip the chicken once or twice. Cut off the tops. Probably just once, just like let one side really cook. Doesn't take long for a chicken to boil, which is nice. It's a good fast way to cook food. And don't, if it's the legs or the thighs, don't taste too bad. You know, I'm going to cut these in half. And yeah, I guess quarters. Boom. And then just trying to keep it all together. And then you could curl your fingers like this, so that way when you come down, it's less likely to cut. But right now my thumb is kind of pushing out. I'd want to curl that in as well. That way it's less likely to get any of my tips chopped off. And do like this little spider grab. And I think maybe that this is more Italian than of these. I think it is more of these, because you don't want to cut your fingers. But I don't know, I'm not Italian. So I keep going back to just doing whatever. Alright. This one's going to go in half. This one's in half. There's two around. So I turned it down from an 8 to a 6, which wasn't enough to stop the boil, but when I add in these next set of vegetables, it won't start cooking up as fast. So those turnips and those beets might get a little bit soft, but it'll be okay. Oh, I didn't cut this one. So I didn't cut this one. Just going to line them up real quick. Throw away these ends real quick. And then everything that goes in is in the pot. Oops. Took me a second just so that I can make sure I can flip the chicken. This zucchini is going to cook up really, really fast. So we're actually going to get everything else prepared before we do that. So this is the bowl. Like I had some ginger and turmeric tea that I just didn't clean this out. So I'll wash this out real quick. See, I just got a big old plastic bowl. So you don't have to just think of this as like the ultimate, or like the ultimate sickness meal. It's not. I also forgot one thing. I'm going to add in a little bit of olive oil while it's boiling, because then this olive oil is going to break apart more. It's going to be easier to put in, because you just want some good healthy fats. So it's really just like a capful of olive oil is good enough. See, not much changed. I was trying to go for about an ounce of olive oil. So now that that's all boiling, I almost want to turn off the heat. Oh yeah, I got this, but I'm gonna get the zucchini there because it does gotta cook. You don't want to turn off the heat when you put on the zucchini. It's just gonna cook real fast. So it's only gonna be on there for like 2 or 3 minutes. Then you turn off the heat and it'll be good to go. Doesn't really have much of an end, but I'm still gonna cut a little bit off. I like these boys. Zucchini good. Yellow squash is also decent. It's just like for me the flavor gets, I like green zucchini flavoring better on like the daily. So I try to eat this. This is like, that's what I'm saying, like this isn't just a medical food. This is like what I try to eat when I'm in recovery from like even just a workout. I'm trying to prep my body for a workout. Either way, because it's hydration, full of nutrients, everything your body needs while your body is trying to develop. So that chicken's already cooked. Ow, fuck. See, look at that. Always be careful of your knife blade. That can easily get infected. Oh wait, did I? That's just. Ooh, that's not where it is. That's where it is. Okay. That was just like zucchini. I thought the thing cut and was just real deep. That's why it was that color. But this is just a small one. Careful of that knife blade, man. Those things are sharp, When I always know which side to touch, which side not to, I'm going to wash this off. I'm going to get this stuff in. And if you're cooking for other people, wash your hands and clean up your hand before you put in the food. But this is all for me. So. That's going to come back to a boil. I'm going to wash off my knife, especially because I used it to muddle the turmeric root. It can stain very quickly if you don't wash it, so that's why you want to wash this knife and this board as soon as possible. You could even cut the use the board and use the knife on the turmeric, and then wash them both just to make sure that you don't get them stained. Because, oh yeah, they will stain as soon as it dries. Like, I swear, might not be that quick in reality, but it seems like it. It's really quick. All right, knife safe. Put it back. Now wash this because we just don't want it to stain. And by the time you wash those two simple things, it's already time to cut off the heat. So, now you got pretty much half your dishes clean, and your food's ready. It's not quite ready. It's the zucchini's got to become a little bit more translucent. Let me show you what I mean. So this is my final test. This zucchini is you can see it's pretty white all the way through. Oops. It's starting to get a little translucent on the backside actually. So it's getting a little bit translucent as it cooks up. Like you can start to see the seeds and everything. The light shines through it better. So yeah. The pot of water feels hot enough, I think, and it was starting to become translucent, so I just cut the heat. I think that was good enough. I'm gonna wash my hand for this cut. Alright, now I just need to throw in some ice into here. So especially if you use like filtered ice, this is like really fresh water going in here, which is nice. I really excuse me. But the idea is like we want to make sure that we don't overcook the vegetables, so we're going to use this ice right now to cool off the water and everything, and stop the cooking process, and then we can also eat it right away. So if you can see it, it still has a little bit of a boil, even though I cut off the heat a minute ago. It's going to be very hot, but we're still just going to pour this on in there. No. That wasn't enough ice to really get it to cool down. The rest of this will help it, but that'll be enough to slow it down. So while I'm letting stuff just cool off, you can kind of see the end result. And let's check it out. So we got our zucchini. We got this our chicken thigh. It's this orange color because of the turmeric root, and I think a little bit because of the beet. So like there's some beet and turnip, and a little bit of radish hanging off the bottom, you know. And then I don't know if you could tell in the water, but it's got a thin kind of coating, or it looks kind of like there's a bunch of little bubbles hanging on top. That is the olive oil, and because it's all boiled, it just looks like thousands of tiny dots, just kind of like hanging around. Which makes it much easier to get in. Last ingredient, a little bit of lime. Oh, and because I'm sick, I'm going to run away a piece of zucchini. So this is the white before it's cooked. That's actually a great example. Oops, come here. And this is how it looks after it's cooked. So you can see through it. This one's heavy white. This one's like more of a yellowish. To me, it's more green, but the camera kind of makes it more yellow. But you can see all the seeds and everything in this one. You You can't see the matrix like around the seeds. So that's how you tell zucchini's cooked. Perfect. If you're able to leave white while you still have this translucent, then you give it a good little crunch. And it feels very solid. So that's why you don't want to be too translucent, but if you mess it up, zucchini still tastes good, I think. There we go. Alright. A little bit of salt. Maybe a lot of bit of salt. And I'll toss on some pepper. Seems like spices might help. Oh, now I'm just gonna toss in the rest of the ice, and that should cool it down enough, and it'll be ready to go. The nice thing about making this little soup right here is that once you start making it, once you put in your first ingredient, it kind of just flows. Like you just constantly just like cut the next ingredient, put it in, cut the next ingredient, put it in, cut the next ingredient, put it in, and then once you're done cutting ingredients and putting them in, you just kind of got to clean up a little bit, and you're already done. So thanks for watching.